Hey, what up everyone? I'm Sinnycool, and this is Gems of War. And today I have some teams for you for the World Event and the Faction Assault. Um, we have 4 or 5 teams, and I actually used some teams from the comments, so I'll be shouting a couple people out. One I used straight from the comments, and the other one I kind of made into my own, but I'll give a shout out anyway. Here is a team you can use for the Faction Assault. It's Yasmin's Pride, Ketris the Bull, Gargoyle, Leprechaun. And that's if you don't want to use triple Ferocity Rage Reaver. So, you could use Gargoyles or Ketrises or a mixture of the two. Or you can use Ferocities. I think you can also use a Rowan. So a lot of teams you can use for the Faction Assault. So if you have Ferocities, I would use those. They seem to be working really well for me, and it's my favorite team out of the bunch. But if you like Gargoyles or Ketrises, like say you just got Ketris from the Soul Forge and you want to use him, now's the time. And then you got Gobtruffle, Queen Beatrix. There's all kinds of teams you can use for this event. This faction, probably one of the better ones for variety at least. You got Ferocity, Ketris, Gargoyle, Rowan, Gobtruffle, Beatrix. There's all kinds of stuff you could use. So I always go with Ferocity when red's available because it's super fast and fun. Shaman class, Rage Reaver weapon. If you don't have Rage Reaver, maybe go with Rowan team with Shield of Urskaya. And I'm sure you have that. So I'm sure you have one of the two. You either have triple Ferocity, Rage Reaver, or Rowan, Shield of Urskaya. So go with that. But yeah, I got a bunch of teams for the event, the world event. I'm not saying they're all good, but because the event's crazy, they screwed it up. They gave us a medal that goes with skull damage, and then no troops that have skull damage. So I don't know. I was kind of reading the forums before I started here, but I didn't get too far in. So make sure you get your faction assault done. Get all the rewards at least. And then supposedly this one's one of the easier ones to get Pure Faction on. So if you happen to have a lot of time today and want to go all the way to 500 and do Pure Faction, the Wild Knight, I think, is the troop you want to like double up on in your first 2 slots. And then, I don't know. Maybe I'll try Pure Faction. We'll see how the day goes. I doubt it, but if I somehow end up doing Pure Faction, maybe I'll put out another video later today, but I doubt it. I really do. There's probably like a 1% chance that happens. I usually just get my rewards and keep it moving. And then I do potionless Pure Faction. For whatever reason, I like to make things hard on myself. But that's why I play EverQuest and Dark Souls. I don't know. So here's the point system for... I mean, this Faction Assault is fairly self-explanatory. Early on, you want to cast Ferocity. You want to match red as soon as possible, cast Ferocity. Because you'll get one up, you'll cast it, then the next one will be up, you'll cast it, and the battle will be over. Later on in the event, you want to cast Rage Reaver sooner than later. But early on, it's Ferocity, Ferocity. Later on, it's Rage Reaver, Ferocity, Ferocity. So, pretty simple. I've shown this team a million times. But it is probably my favorite team in the game right now. The triple Ferocity Rage Reaver with Shaman class. Double red, brown banner, I'm pretty sure, for anybody that needs all that info. We're using lots of red, so you want to double up on red, and then we're using brown and blue, so you want to find +1 brown or +1 blue, and then you want to be minusing a color that we're not using at all. So, yeah, there's the faction event. Make sure you get it done today, at least get all your rewards, and perhaps go to Pure Faction level 500, if that's how you're doing it today. Alright, so we're into the world event now. First team I show is just the team I was trying out yesterday. It was based on having a Skull Storm and then just using like Mistralis, Valkyrie, and Hyndla with the Thoradin weapon, which I think is the Titan weapon from Titan class. So I think we're Plague Lord with the Skull Storm. I was trying to figure out some way to use the skulls because you got extra skull damage. Why not try to use it? That was my thought, anyway. Then Mistralis is one of the best available troops, so I thought we'd use her. And then Hyndla has a summon, and then Valkyrie does blue conversion. So, like, I don't know I mean, there's one other team that I think is pretty good, other than this. Not saying this is good. I'm just saying, like, in the circumstances that they gave us, I couldn't think of anything better than what I put out here. But there is one other team that I might continue and use. It's the last team I show, which I do show. I think 3 world event teams. So, and two of them are from commenters, and this one's mine right here, which was my first thought. I'm probably not going to continue to use this, but it is an idea. I'm going to probably use the last team on this video, which was a combination of a comment and my tweaking. So, anyway, how does the point system work in this event? So, the Berserker will give you 6 points. The Ice Witch gives you 9 points. The Ice Golem gives you 9 points. Hyndla gives you 20 points. Frost Feather gives you 10 points. And Mistralis gives you 15 points. So this one's a little bit weird. You want to go after Hyndla whenever you see Hyndla. Like right there, it'll show. I don't know if it'll show. But even if it's between Hyndla and Mistralis, you want to go after Hyndla. Hyndla gives you the most points. Even if Hyndla is legendary and Mistralis is mythic, you want to go after Hyndla. You'll see me pick Hyndla here instead of Mistralis. So do as I say and as I do. For some reason, Hyndla gives 20 points, while Mistralis only gives 15. So always pick Hyndla. Other than that, though, you want to pick by rarity. Even you can do lowest level, which I don't know if I was doing that the entire time, but I've figured out how to do it by now. You know, some of these battles I was doing before I knew exactly the intricacies of the scoring, which is always just stupid and weird. Rarity is your main priority. Well, Hyndla is your main priority. So if you see Hyndla, she's number 1. You always want to pick Hyndla. Your second priority would be rarity. If there's no Hyndla, just go by rarity. Third, lowest level. Just pick the lowest level. If there's no Hyndla and there's 2 legendaries, pick the one that's lower level. It doesn't matter. You don't want to pick the higher level. You'll get the same amount of points. So always pick the lower level if it's between the same rarity. So basically, this team is like Get Up Valkyrie. As I kept using it, it turned into Get Up Valkyrie, get a bunch of blue, cast Mistralis, cast Thoradin, cast Hyndla. You know, Mistralis first, since she has an extra turn, you might as well. And then I think Hyndla is a little bit stronger than Thoradin, so then Hyndla, then Thoradin. If you happen to lose your Thoradin, make sure you cast Hyndla, get a summon. That's what she's there for. So instead of using barrier like Rock Solid, instead of using Rock Solid, we're using a summon instead. So Thoradin's not that big of a deal if you lose it. The only bad part is then it starts cracking on your Mistralis, but you can summon in another troop above Mistralis, so not a big deal. You don't really need that Rock Solid or that barrier. So that was my first thought, and I still think it's an okay team for this wacky event where they gave us extra skull damage on troops that don't have any skulls. But here's a team from Cheeto Taco. Cheeto Taco gave us this team. I need to go back and oh great, yeah, let's do that. That sounds like fun. We need to go back to the video and give him credit here. Let's see. Yeah, Cheeto Taco gave us this weapon. This team. It is Frostfire Troll, the Frostfire King, Thoradin, and Hyndla. I mean, it was working. He said it was mostly for early on, so I don't know how it's gonna fare later on. Mostly when Skulls came down, I was using the Skulls. I did kind of like the Frostfire King there, especially early on. That was nice. But later on, it was like, you know how it is. But here's another option you could use. Both of our teams are using Hyndla and Thoradin. So, what's the rarity on these troops? Maybe they're a little bit lower rarity than Mistralis and I was using Valkyrie instead of, yeah. I mean, this is like in case you don't have Mistralis type team here, which is good. We needed that. So, like in case you don't have the mythic type team right here. So that's good. We got a mana generator up front. We have the Frostfire King, which does decent damage, especially early on. If this event was spell damage, this would be so much better. But it's skulls, so I'm taking skulls whenever I see them. Make sure you do. I was really honestly thinking about not even using the event medal. Like, just using Nishas or something. Because what's the point? Unless you're going after skulls. And, you might as well... This is my whole thought on it. The event gives you extra damage from skulls. If you're going to use the medal, you might as well use the skulls, right? So you might as well have a skull storm, because that's the only way you can try to get more skulls, to do that more damage off the medal that they give you. So that was my only thought with this event, was like, if you're going to use the medal, you might as well use the skull storm. If you're not going to use the skull storm, don't even use the medal. Like, what's the point? You might as well use Nishas or something, or Anu, or Seasons, or anything else. Like, what's the point of using the skull damage if you're not going to use the skulls? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, every once in a while you're going to get a skull if you just go about it in a non-skull way. But if you're not using a skull storm, in my opinion, you might even want to not even use the medal for the event. Because why? You're not trying to use skulls, so you're not really attempting to use the medal. So why are you even using the medal? Even though the event is built around the medal. But they're dumb, and they made it to where we don't have any troops that do skull damage, so... I don't know. I would say if you're going to use the skull medals, use the skull storm. If you're not going to use the skull storm, don't use the event medal. Like, why? You're going to get one skull every once in a while. So, I don't know. You might as well use Anu and Nisha and whatnot if you're going to use a team that doesn't use the skull storm. But here's the last team, and this is one that I'm probably going to continue to use because it was working pretty good. I need to give a little bit of credit here. Somebody gave me kind of the idea for this team. Let's see here. Who was it? It was Seth Rodriguez. Seth Rodriguez mentioned Jarl, Fire Giant, Frost Giant, and either the Mythic weapon from Titan class or Thunderbolt weapon. And all I did was take out the Frost Giant and put in another Jarl. And it was working really good for me. I put I put the hero up front, and then I put Fire Giant, Jarl. Jarl uses red, no one else does. He makes a bunch of red, so he's going to be fine down there at the bottom. He loops. His third trait burns, and then you can use the Fire Giant to cast on the burning troops to do triple damage and make a bunch of red. So your main goal here is to cast Jarl a bunch of times and get it looping. And then once that happens, you'll burn a bunch of people, and you can use your Fire Giant on the burning enemies, which then the Fire Giant will do triple damage and make red if you kill with it. So make sure you can kill with your Fire Giant if you're going to cast it. But he'll do triple damage, so just add it up in your head. Make sure it's a kill, and then cast it on that target that's burning. And you'll make a bunch of red, too. If you don't have two Jarls, you could probably just use two Fire Giants instead. But the Jarl does a bunch of yellow and red, and that's the reason I was doing two Jarls. I've used a bunch of teams in the past with two Jarl, so... sorry if it's Jarl, I don't know. I say Jarl, I don't know, whatever. He's one of my first legendaries I ever got, so I used him quite a bit earlier in the game. And I always like to pair him with two Jarls, so you could do double red and yellow. And kind of, you know, get a loop, kind of a loop going, a weak loop. Then the weapon with the hero, I think I did Titan class. I'm probably going to switch into Nisha medals or Anu or something. I think I was using the event medal here, but I'm going to practice what I preach and maybe just go ahead and switch into Nisha and Anu. Or probably just straight up Nisha. The Thunderbolt weapon, or whatever it's called, the spear. True damage. You could probably use whatever else you want, but it uses yellow. Jarl's making a bunch of yellow, so I went with that. Because we're doing yellow, red. We have yellow, red, and brown, so we're making a bunch of yellow and red. I don't know. It was working for me, and I'm probably going to continue to use it. But anyway, that's, what, 3-4 teams for you? Maybe 5 teams? Whatever it is. But yeah, shout out to Seth Rodriguez and Cheeto Taco. Thank you for the teams. Like, share, subscribe. Consider joining. It helps a lot. Tell your guild about the channel. And I'll see y'all tomorrow, probably for the looking back at the updates video of 2020. Have a good one. Peace.